Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Um, Welcome to the student trustee debate for today. We have two candidates here, David and Alec. So, what is the student trustee? The student trustee is a student representative that represents your voice on the board of trustees. If you have any concerns, any issues, the student trustee is the one who connects with the administration and our board of trustees to solve those issues, to make Moraine Valley convenient for everyone. Currently, I'm the student trustee. Next week, I'm gonna step out and have a new member. One of our students here is gonna become the new student trustee. How you can vote? You vote through your MVCC email. So you're gonna receive a link on Monday, and you can vote through that link. With that being said, it's not an easy decision to make, but it is an important one. The student trustee represents the voice of the student body and serves on the college's board of trustees. It is the task of the student trustee to be aware of the issues that may affect students and such. The student trustee not only then works to address these issues and at the student government level, but also relays these concerns to the board of trustees. It's an important position, and it's important that you get a chance to meet and get to know our candidates here. This is a great chance to let your voice be heard and to choose who would you like to represent your interests. Let your voice be heard and vote through your MVCC email. Let me start with the debate rules. Each speaker will have up to 2 minutes to answer each question. Other candidates can't interrupt the speaker. If you have any question, write it down. And you will have the time to ask them at the end of our debate. We will start off with a different candidate every question, so you guys will get turns. And if any of you have any questions for our candidates, we're gonna have a Q&A session. Candidates, let's get started. Can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit more about who you are and how would you like our community to know about you and your background and how you came to Moraine Valley. We'll start with Alex.
Hi, everyone. Like Grim said here, my name is Alexander Altman. Most people know me as Alec, and I went to Sandburg High School. Decided to come to Moraine because I heard it was a great option, and their cross-country program's amazing. I had a great time. Can't wait for next season. And what I want to do as trustee is be able to be the voice of all the other students. I want to be able to help everyone out as far as any issues they have. I want to be the communicator between the students and any of the teachers, professors, and advisors to how we can make Moraine just a all-around great journey for everyone.
Thank you, Alec. You have 2 minutes.
All right, let's see. Everybody, okay. My name is David Shipyor. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, right by Midway Airport. I went to high school in at St. Lawrence High School in Burbank, Illinois. The reason I came to Moraine Valley is actually because it was close, local, right in my area. I moved out to Justice about 5 years ago after I graduated. So, you know, I always wanted to go like close to home first, save some money at a community college before I went on to university. And Moraine Valley it's a great place. Their academic programs are well known and well regarded throughout, the area. So it was just a perfect option for me. As student trustee, I have a lot of issues I want to cover, namely in terms of students on school and around campus. I want to help grow student life as student life is just struggling. All right. Also, as the state's going through this budget crisis, I want the students to know that they have a voice to be heard, especially in terms of how money's being spent on campus and how things are budgeted. A lot of students are concerned, especially with this MAP grant issue and, just the financial future of the institution going forward. So hopefully a lot of these questions come up during this debate, and I'm looking forward to answering, my positions on them and what the student trustee position can do to help students in that regard.
Thank you, David and Alec. My second question for you, why do you feel that you would make a good student trustee? We'll start with David.
Right. So as a student, my major is political science. Being a political science major, I'm really in tune with what's going on in the world of politics. As I just mentioned, we have this huge budget crisis going downstate. The state of Illinois currently does not have a budget deal for this current year. It doesn't look like it's going to get solved anytime soon. A lot of students right now currently are really worried about this future of the educational system within the state of Illinois. Right now, we see schools all around us are just in total chaos. There's some schools that can't even fund this current year going forward. Good for us, Moraine Valley is in good financial standing, so we shouldn't worry too much about ourselves, but you always want to be mindful of what's going on in the world around you. So not only with terms of economics, but the school altogether as student life, I really want to like reinvigorate student life. A lot of students complain, yeah, there's a lot of groups, but the student groups are just so small and they don't really take off. So I really want to get student participation, not just in the politics of the school, but also in life around the school, so they can find themselves as human beings and learn about themselves and learn about others. So there's a lot of things I want to do as student trustee. I have my flyers. You'll see them hanging around. So I don't have to, we only have 2 minutes. So, yeah, I want to raise awareness for student programs.
Thank you, David.
Out of time?
I'm sorry.
All
All right. Alec?
All right. Well, I feel like I'd be a good fit for trustee because in my experience of the sports I've been in, the jobs I've had, and just my experiences through high school and just school in general, I feel I've really developed like good sense of communication between friends, teachers, coworkers. I feel like I'm easy to be able to work with as far as whenever you need to get stuff done in the workplace or just anything in general. Whenever you need to get something done, have goals you need to meet. I feel like I'm always able to get through everything. I also feel that at Moraine, there's some students who feel like it's not really like the best option. They think they could do better, but people need to know that Moraine is actually a really good opportunity. You save so much money, and you meet people, and you're able to really like get helped out as far as when you transfer to. They really put 100% in making sure you become successful. I can't say that about other schools, universities. Some don't put in the effort that the Moraine does to really help the students succeed. And I kind of want to get the word out that they do that. And Moraine really does is one of like the top community colleges in the nation. And I feel like people really need to take advantage of this great opportunity that's given to them.
Thank you, Alec. My third question, we all know that Moraine Valley has a very diverse student population. How are you planning on making sure you represent everybody from different backgrounds and ethnicities? We'll start with Alec.
Well, as far as we're representing the diverse students here in Moraine, I feel I have many friends who are of diverse cultures, and I hear what they have to say about how they feel about some situations in school and everything. And I always try to look at both sides to everything. I'm really a rational thinker when it comes to solving problems. I always want to be on the opposition and see the pros and cons of things to where I can't see the view of others. So I feel I'm really open-minded as far as learning about what people have to say. And so whenever I hear anyone who feels like they have an issue about anything or with school, like I feel like I could really like feel for them and actually like put an effort to make their points get out, and so they could actually feel like they are like all the issues that they think they have or feel they have could really be like solved, and I would help to do that.
Thank you, Alec. David?
Great. So diversity is actually one of the core values of Moraine Valley. It's something we hear about a lot on campus. We have a very diverse campus. We have people from all different kinds of populations and religious groups. How would I represent people of this wide range of backgrounds is I try to always understand people where they're coming from, whether it's their ethnicity, their culture, or their religion. I actually took a world religions class a couple semesters ago, and I just was astounded by the lack of understanding about various different religious ideas, whether it be Islam, Christianity, or Judaism. So as a student or as a person, to me, like just understanding people, whether I agree with them or not, is always important. Of course, being a political science major, you have to understand both sides of an issue, whether you agree with it or not. So to me, representing people is first you have to hear them out, whether you agree with them, and then you have to find compromises. So that's something that's really lacking in our world today. But to me, like to be successful working within groups, you have to be a team player. So certainly that's a major component is just being open to hearing what others have to say. And also awareness. This is something I would like to do as student trustee is just to have people learn more. I mean, especially in today's political climate, we see things like Black Lives Matter, or we just had like terrorist attacks in Europe the other day. So I want people to understand what's going on in the world around them, and part of that is understanding how different groups and different people think and work.
Thank you. My fourth question, how would you react if a student came up to you with an issue that you believe isn't very important or doesn't affect the majority of our student body? How would you address this issue? We'll start with David.
Right. So you usually think listening to things is going to come from a major standpoint, like, oh, maybe something like diversity. How are we going to represent this group of this population or that population? But you always want to hear something that maybe you don't agree with, or maybe, it's representing a population that's small. Maybe it's the handicapped. Maybe we need to make Moraine Valley more handicapped accessible. So you always want to hear people out, even if it's something small and insignificant, because to somebody it can make the difference, all the difference in their world. If you don't agree with it, you certainly should hear somebody out. It's, just being respectful as a human being. And you should always just be a good listener. I feel, that's very important as a person. So what was there a second part to that question? It's pretty straightforward, I imagine.
I'll repeat the question one more time. How would you react if a student came up to you with an issue that you believe isn't very important or doesn't affect the majority of our student body?
Right.
And you have 30 seconds.
Right. Just hear them out. Even if you don't agree with them, help them out. If it's reasonable, whether they're a significant population or not, you represent everybody as student trustee. So you have to take that into account when you hear things out from students.
Thank you, David. Alec?
All right. Well, I feel no matter how small of an issue it may seem to most people, that person still came forward and is passionate about the issue that they introduce enough to want to make a change. And I respect that so much, even if I wasn't entirely in agreement with the situation. But I would definitely take everything the person says and do my best to make it so that person's issue could be resolved. Even if it can't be resolved or something isn't passed or by other people, I'd still show that I cared and I wanted to make a difference for that student because that student was really passionate about an issue that should be changed, and I would do all that I can to help that student.
Thank you. My fifth question, and we'll start here with Alec. What particular issues have you heard from students that you are willing to address as a student trustee?
Some issues that I feel that some of my friends have brought up is the price of books could be kind of high for most students to be able to afford. And I know there's a system at the bookstore that to sell back books, but from past experiences with myself, I can know how hard it is to keep books in pristine condition. They're always in your book bag. You throw them on your bed and just stuff like that, kind of dents it up, sometimes rips some pages. And if you're not able to sell that book back, you're kind of just stuck. You could go on eBay and try and sell it, but there's some books that are only distinct for Moraine. And so it's best if you could kind of find a smaller community to where you could sell those books to those people. And so I feel there could be a system created to where in that area, for example, for Moraine's area, students are able to communicate with each other and sell books back and forth or make some exchanges just so it can make everything like an easier like one-step process.
Thank you, Alec. David?
Right. So as I mentioned before, a lot of things I hear from students pertain to things going outside of the school and things going inside of the school. Namely this budget deal and how this is going to affect our situation going forward. Is tuition going to go up? Are our class sizes going to increase? Some other issues are, things like during times of registration and when a new semester's starting, are our classes going to actually go through for the semester, or are they going to be canceled on us like the day they start because of a class size just being too small? That's a big issue that goes on around campus, and a lot of students have talked to me about that. Student life, like I said, I would like to reinvigorate student life. We need to get people more involved on campus, and how we do that, I've heard a lot of different suggestions. Maybe we should have more, festivals. Maybe we should have one for every season, spring, summer, fall, winter. Students, some have come forward saying maybe we should have more dances on campus, more mixers. Students have mentioned, movie night is becoming popular, I guess, with a lot of the students. So, they've just like maybe some different movies, not maybe things like Pixar or, a Disney movie, maybe something more college age oriented. So there's a lot of issues students come up to me about. Those are some main ones, and those three I think would suffice for now.
Thank you, David. Let's open some room for any questions you guys have, and then we'll go back to my questions. Do you guys have any questions? Nothing? All right. My sixth question: what extracurriculum activities have you participated in here at the college, and how have those activities benefited you? And here we're gonna start with David.
Right. So last semester, I actually was trying to get involved in student life, specifically with the Christian Fellowship Program. I'm a Christian myself, and sharing and spreading my faith is very important to me. The group didn't really get started. Like I said, student life is just really struggling to get participation. So to me, that kind of showed me personally just how much of an issue this is going around Moraine Valley, and just sharing that example and that experience with other students who've had similar experiences with their groups maybe aren't growing, or maybe they're struggling, or things of that nature. This semester I've actually started attending the political action group. We actually have the leader of the group right here. I forget your name. Susan. Yeah, and it just right now the group is actually trying to register students for the election coming up, which is very interesting. Being political science majors, just seeing that process firsthand, and that's very good experience for me. I think students should actually look into this group and what they're doing around campus, and they're just trying to raise a lot of awareness in this election cycle. So to me, as a political science major, that's really meaningful.
Thank you, David. Alec.
And here at Moraine, I take great pride in just doing whatever I can to be a part of the school that I'm in. And two things that I've been involved in here are Moraine Valley's cross-country team and Phi Theta Kappa. As far as Phi Theta Kappa, it's really helped me as far as becoming a super studious student. I couldn't say the same for me in high school. It's really given me that extra push to really do whatever I can to succeed. My aspiration right now is to become an orthodontist, and that's something that would have sounded crazy to me in high school. I wouldn't think I'd be able to do that, but after beginning Moraine, I've been able to excel with my grades, been able to put in 100% effort in what I do. And Phi Theta Kappa has really given me an incentive to really want it, because they offer so much for you when you're trying to transfer to another school, and it looks great on your transcripts, and it really benefits you. And as far as cross country, I also did that in high school, and coming here to Moraine, I actually liked it more than my high school cross country team. The people are so much it's more of a family when you're in the sport. It's more of a close knit group. You all go to travel to different states for your cross country competition, and it's really helped me become more of a leader, because back in high school there was probably over 100 kids, and it could be hard to keep them all, especially with all those freshmen coming in as 8th graders. It's kind of hard to really like make them like uh, want to really succeed in running. Some people just do it for fun. But here at Moraine, we all have that same goal, and everyone steps up to become a leader so we could actually get what we want done. And our main goal is to get the whole team up to what's it called, nationals, and it could be a super difficult process. You have to put in all hard work, as much hard work as you can, and because you have to run miles and miles every day, you'll feel super tired and like out of it after those
Thank you, Alec.
practices.
Thank you. Um, what other leadership positions have you held, and how would you apply those leadership skills to the position of student trustee, whether it was in high school or here at Moraine or anywhere else, even at at work? We'll start with Alec.
Another thing that I was a part of to where I was able to also develop more of a sense of leadership is swim guard in high school. And what swim guard is pretty much you teach kids swimming lessons. Not only kids actually, some range to adults. So even though they're older than you, you still have to kind of be able to teach them in a way that makes them like comfortable. So and I'd have to teach like groups of kids also. So like there'd be up to like 10 kids that I'd have to keep in line just to so they could learn what they're supposed to. Because many parents, when they come in, all they wanted them to have fun, of course, which I would do everything I can for everyone who comes to swimming lessons, enjoy the time they've been there. But it really made me like feel like a real, just like a teacher, and really making a difference in these kids' life. Because I feel learning how to swim is a super important skill that everyone should learn, and being able to do that in a way that made me feel important as far as that aspect of their life was super special.
Thank you, David.
So leadership experience to me, to give you a few examples. When I was younger, I was really involved in the Boy Scouts of America. I actually made it all the way to the rank of Eagle Scout, and that was a big part of my life. It made a huge impact on me as a person and as an individual. Back in high school, I was actually part of the yearbook team and the computer lab assistant program at our school. The computer lab program, we actually worked with not only fellow students, but we also worked with teachers and staff. So as a high school student from the ages of 14 to 18, I really learned a lot about leadership and just being more mature as a person, especially if you're a student having to work with teachers at times. At Moraine Valley, leadership to me is having that experience in my past, just knowing leadership sometimes is just doing the small things. I try to be a leader in my classrooms. I always ask questions, or I always answer my fellow students' questions. Maybe we're working in a group or in a project. So I always learned that as a leader, you have to watch out for the little guy. You have to watch out for the person who's maybe not up to speed. A group is only as strong as the weakest link, and rather that's something as small as working on a class project, or maybe that's something as big as being student trustee. We just had this question. Maybe if you were approached by an unpopular opinion, or a student had a request that maybe you didn't agree with. You always have to look out for the weakest person, the weakest link in your group. So to me, leadership is just being able to step up to the plate and do what's best for everybody.
Thank you, David. My 8th question: how are you going to manage your time between your classes or studies, outside responsibilities, and your responsibilities as a student trustee? This can be challenging at some times, so what is your plan to balance between all those things? We'll start with David.
Right, that's something that's been on my mind ever since I started this project of, if I do win, how's this going to impact me? As a student, I always manage my time quite well. I have a 4.0 GPA, and I'm very proud of that. So time management is always something I'm doing. Currently, I'm working, going to school, and of course, if I win this, I'll be student trustee, which is a lot. It takes a lot. There's a lot of dedication you have to put into that. So to me, just time management, understand your responsibilities and, be ready to carry those out. School always comes first, but, so always reach out for help if you need it. Moraine Valley has a lot of resources to help us. We have the Writing Center. We have the Tutoring Center. Maybe if you fall behind, you should certainly use that. I know I would if I needed it. And in the past, I've had help from teachers, and I go to the Writing Center often, every paper, just to get it looked over. So how to manage my time is something I've learned to do quite well since I've started Moraine Valley, and it's something I'll always continue to do, whether I win this or not. So,
Thank you, David. Alec?
Well, I feel planning a schedule is super important. I'm someone who likes having the things that I have to do down on paper. And last semester, I had cross country, uh, and I was a full-time student, had a part-time job. So I was pretty busy most of the semester. And I'd always have everything planned out on a calendar, make extra time to always have time to study, and any other things I have to get done. So I just feel that from that, it's given me more of a sense of being able to manage my time the best I can, because I feel no matter everything you do, you should do it. Just put full effort 100%. Like, even if you're tired from cross country, you should not skip out on studying or kind of slack at work. You always have to always let people know that you're really a hard worker, because I feel like earning that kind of respect is a super special thing.
Thank you. What is your recruitment plan to promote our clubs and organizations and encourage students to join them? You both have mentioned that we do have a problem with recruitment. So what's your plan to promote our clubs? We'll start with Alec.
I feel like in this time, social media is a really big aspect as far as getting the word out there for anything. And there definitely are some pages as far as Instagram, Twitter for some of these clubs and little organizations. And I feel upkeeping on those would help a lot. But also, there's some people who don't have social media, and so you really have to get the word out on school websites and just on the school campus in general. Hang up flyers and kind of like you see posters saying like join art club, but or just other clubs that people never heard of. Like in high school there was Key Club. No one knew what Key Club was. And on the flyers they wouldn't really like give much information. I feel giving at least like a small description of each club will get people interested, or just kind of give some kind of a little just kind of like an attention getter kind of thing on the posters, just so people get more interested and feel like they'd like to learn more about the club organization or think of attending a meeting.
Thank you, Alec. David?
Right. So as Alex mentioned, social media has become very prominent, and recently Moraine Valley has actually started a Snapchat for what's going around on campus. I think that was a really great idea. How much that's caught on just yet, I'm not sure. But I think we should really dedicate more time to looking into resources like that to get the word out to students of what's going on around campus. Me personally, I've seen things that some groups are doing. The photography club is actually, they do contests every now and then. You can win like, $50 for participating if you win. So things like that, maybe get some competitions going with the various clubs to, get awareness for what they do and that they actually exist on campus. Some things I would personally like to do is I would like to get more, I would like to petition students to see what would they like to have around campus. Like I mentioned before, there's this movie night that they've been doing, recently, and that seems to be pretty popular. Students would like to have more input on that and what's going on. I would like to, orient things towards student interest. Right now the Blackhawks are like really popular, right? Because they've been winning it season after season. Why don't we have a Blackhawks night? Maybe we'll do a Wednesday night rivalry night, order some pizza and watch the game on a big screen. So I think there's a lot of interest with students wanting to get involved on campus, but maybe that interest, isn't being heard properly, and maybe resources are being misdirected. So there's an interest to be involved in student life. It's just I think students they're lost in how to get that interest heard and have things, dedicated towards their interest. Some ideas, like I mentioned before, maybe more dances, more mixers, stuff of that nature, things that are more college age oriented, things that would get students on campus and seeing what a great place this is and how great it is to, to get involved and interact with your fellow students.
Thank you. My final question, what are your greatest strengths and weaknesses? And we're going to start with David.
Right, so my greatest strength is I'm very detailed and time oriented. I mentioned I have a 4.0 GPA. I really pay attention to detail because I want to get things right. But at times that's also a weakness because, I overanalyze and overthink to the point where maybe, because I'm so focused, other things kind of get pushed out of the picture. So I always one of my weaknesses and something I always get help with is having a fresh set of eyes look at something, look something over, and make sure I'm not missing anything. I also think a lot, so sometimes my words don't always match up with my thoughts, and I might be thinking 100 words per minute, and I'm saying something else because I'm just 10 steps ahead in my mind. So that's certainly my weakness.
As far as weaknesses go, I'm the type of person to really like make sure what I do is perfect, and sometimes that could be kind of unreachable because something you always have some little situations where you mix up or forget something. But whatever I do, I always feel being prompt is super important. And like in class, like if I'm taking a test, I'll be the kid who's there the whole time because I check over my answers. I always want to make sure every single one is right. I'll be in the class like taking a biology test, and then my teacher will just be like, "Alec, what are you still doing here? It's 5 minutes, just turn in your test." I'll just be like, okay, just checking one last thing. But whenever I get that stuff done, it's usually up to par as far as what needs to be done. And whenever there's if there's like a deadline where something needs to be due, I'll always have it in by then. Even if I am checking everything over till the last minute, I'll get it in by time, and it'll be hopefully up to good standards. And as far as my strengths, I feel that I could be a really rational person that really understands people. Like whenever people have any problems, like friends, stuff like that, they always come to me because they're just like, oh, he gives good advice. He knows what's right, what's wrong. So I feel like I have good moral values also. And I feel as a leader, it can really help because people really get an understanding of the person you are, and they feel like that he actually cares about what he's doing and will do everything he can to really make everyone feel like everything they have to say or any issue they have is an important one, and that I'll do everything I need to help them out.
Thank you. With that being said, I ran out of questions, so I need you to ask some questions now. We'll start with Susan.
Thank you. So my question to both of you is definitely civic engagement for the millennial has been an issue. This year more than ever, civic engagement is important. We have an election year and an election of a student trustee. I'd like to see what your idea is to get students more involved in this process of student trustee and starting that civic engagement right here on campus, because I think that if you're not starting civic engagement on campus, how do you take it out into the world? And it's an important resource and right to have. So we can start however you want.
We can start with who spoke last? Let's start with Alec.
Well, I definitely agree that there's always something more we could do to get the word out about anything, about clubs and such student government. Some people may not know too much about it or know that it exists. I think just the most we could do is really just put in all effort to really like get the word out by like something you could even do is just like set up a table, like have some flyers, approach people and just like tell them about, if they have time, what this is all about and how it could benefit them as far as knowing more about what goes on at Moraine, and really being able to feel like they're like a part of the school, not just as a student, but just as someone who actually makes a difference. Because everyone likes to think that, or likes to be able to make a difference in whatever they're a part of. So I feel like kids would want to actually help if they were informed. So I think doing stuff is such as just putting out more flyers, approaching people, having some events set up, that it could really get people more involved.
Thank you, Alec. David?
So that's a great question, actually. Getting people more involved, first they have to actually know what's going on. I've walked up to a lot of people this week just telling them, hey, do you know what's going on with the student trustee election? And I'm actually running. And they look at me and they're like, what's a student trustee? What does it do? And it's been an enlightening experience, to say the least. But students, they do want to get involved, and that I can speak to. They certainly do. But it's just the awareness. It's just how do we get students more aware? We hang up a lot of flyers. I think the social media aspect is really going to take off, in future semesters. Anybody who's on Snapchat, they have stories of anything going on in the world, whether it be, local or international. If Moraine Valley could do something like that, I think, and get the students to add them, we would just like put stories out there of how, some of the fun activities that we do on campus and that we will do in the future. So it's not so much of that the millennial generation doesn't want to be involved, because they certainly do. I'm a millennial and I want to get involved. So it's just the information needs to be there, the outreach needs to be there. Students just need to know how to direct that energy, which is lacking. It really is. But the energy is there, and the outreach and the want and desire is out there. So.
I have one
Thank
more
you.
question.
Any other questions?
I have one more question.
Yes.
So we have a couple of issues that are facing students today. One is the MAP grant funding, and the other is the funding that's coming into the college. I'm wondering if any of you, either of you, are aware of that situation, and if you are, what is your strategy also to bring about awareness to students that there is a problem, which many students don't know? I'd like to know more than just the social media aspect, because we know that social media is out there, but it really requires a plan of action. How would you execute that plan of action to make students aware that there's a problem, and also to mobilize students to have their voices be heard on a situation that actually involves them?
Are you guys familiar, aware of the MAP funding? Okay. We have more than 130,000 students across the state of Illinois that might drop out of school if they don't get the funding. So, yeah, we'll start with David.
Okay. Well, I only have 2 minutes to answer this, and it really does injustice to the question. Whether it be the MAP grant or any type of funding for schools, it's a real serious issue, especially right now. And I see a lot more students are aware of that than anything else, because, it hits hard home, it hits the pocket, it's economic. One of the things I'm running on, if you look at my flyers around campus, is I want to get more transparency and information about the trustee board and what they do, how they're spending our money, the money that we take in, rather through the state or through tuition. One of my concerns is tuition going to go up because of the lack of funding. Our class size is going to go up. Our teachers going to get laid off. Moraine Valley is supposedly in good financial standings, but how long will that last, especially in this economic climate? So it's hard to condense in 2 minutes. What would I do about that? What can the student trustee do? We don't really have a lot of power in terms of outside of persuasion, and that's something we have to be able to do. I've heard student trustees, write letters to representatives within our governments. I think we need to know that we need to let students know that we're a major voting bloc within, any type of government, state, local, federal. Students need to know they have a lot of collective power. And it's not just us as students, it's our families, our parents vote, our grandparents vote, our siblings vote. So we need to raise awareness about that. And I do think that this will be one of the prominent issues going forward, is because it just, like I said, it's economic. It hits the pocket. So, I wish I could say more, but we're limited by time.
All right. Well, as far as the funding issue, I feel like it's a super significant piece of what we need to do to change school funding for the better. I actually sent an email to Bruce Rauner telling him to push the funding bill for these schools, because people may not think if they're just not funding as much money, there won't really be a difference. But I have a friend who goes to EIU, and there's actually like rumors. Teachers have already been laid off, but there's rumors that it may even close, which would really hit home for them because they love the school. They want to go there for the rest of their to earn their degree, but may not be able to. I feel like getting it more out there to push Rauner to pass the bill for funding would be super important, because what we could do, because we could do so much, like just as a school to push them to pass the bill so we are actually able to get funded the amount of money that we require. Like some other thing, in Phi Theta Kappa, we were also discussing about how the bill hasn't been passed, how the school does, or not the school, the state doesn't even have a budget, and it hasn't for many months. And it's crazy that they still haven't been able to decide what they want to do exactly. So anything from social media, going on Twitter, tweeting the senators, governors, just making it a known issue that this is something that needs to be fixed, and this law or bill really needs to be passed because it obviously benefits so many schools, and if it doesn't, it could really diminish the opportunity for many people to go to the schools or to finish at the schools that they're attending. So that's what I have to say about that.
Thank you. And it's a long fight. Any other questions? Riley.
So if this was already asked, because I showed up late, forgive me, just disregard it. But being a student trustee, one of the really important aspects is being involved in Student Government Association. So I was curious how familiar you guys are with student government's accomplishments.
We'll start with Alec.
Hey, as far as student government's accomplishments, I'm familiar how students were able to get their voice out with the help of this club. People were really able to make some changes. I know some people had issues with like the buses that come to and from Moraine from where they live, so they're able to get to the classes they need to. And from that, they were able to develop a schedule that benefits most of all students to really be able to get the extra transportation they need to really get to school.
Right.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, that bus schedule and how you guys have that now posted all around on the screens, the monitors around campus, that was a real accomplishment. Student government really plans a lot of the activities on school. They get things going on in the SNU building. Student government does a lot, and I don't think a lot of students really realize it. They do things from something as big as the bus schedules. They do things like scholarships, the book scholarship, and they just plan all the events. So I think we should get more students involved in student government because of just how much, that's like the key to getting things going on campus. It's a lot of accomplishments in terms of, just taking the collective power of students and just directing that, back into the school and getting things going. So.
Thank you. We do have time for one more question. All right. With that being,
I have one more actually.
okay.
Sorry. So are either of you prepared to be like really directly involved with student government? Like Kareem, for example, he's extremely involved in student government. He comes to the meetings, both the officer and the General Assembly meetings. He plans and he prepares, and he's really dedicated to the club. For instance, like we have a meeting today, and are either of you like prepared to have such a really involved kind of club involved on your schedule?
We'll start with David.
Well, I imagine so, considering that I'm running for student trusteeing is part of the job. It's something I'm going to take very serious. Like I said, student government is like the key to getting things through and getting more students involved, because student government is the ones who, it's the group that funds a lot of these activities that go on campus, and it's just they have the collective power to get things going, like getting students organized and getting things set up, getting things planned. So yeah, I am ready to be involved with student government, and I'm looking forward to actually working with them should I win.
All right, Alec.
And over like this past year, I've really like kind of gained like a passion for learning just about as much as I can. Like I've grown to love school and just learn more about like organizations, clubs, how stuff runs. And one thing that and when I noticed that they're electing a student trustee, when I found out, I'm just like, wow, well, this is something I could learn about. At the time, I didn't really know much about it, but I saw the flyers, I got emails, and I'm just like, oh, this is something that I feel will interest me. So I looked into it. I was able to learn more that what happens and what goes on in student government. And through that, I kind of like gained so much knowledge from that alone, just getting from just wanting to learn more about how things run. So after becoming a candidate, I looked more into what goes on and everything, and I felt like I really wanted to make a difference to our school, and I feel like student government would be a perfect opportunity too.
Thank you. With that being said, trustee comes from the word trust. So when you vote, please make sure you vote for someone who deserves your trust and will represent you adequately and sufficiently. Not only that, but advocate on your behalf. On behalf of SGA, thank you for joining us in today's debate, and good luck to, those are only two of our candidates. We had one more candidate which couldn't make it to the debate. So good luck to all of you, and we look forward to see who's the next student trustee. Thank you.